Guys, today we're gonna be teaching you all how to putt like a PGA Tour pro. Stay tuned to the end. We're doing a huge giveaway. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Y'all wanna know about how I'm putting, what I do, how I putt. I know it's weird, looks different. It's just about getting the ball in the hole. But today I'm gonna show you a couple tips on how to be more effective with launching the ball correctly, starting it on your line, and reading greens. This is a basic intro to putting. Step one, most important rule for me, at least, in putting well, is putting down a chalk line. You've got to put down a chalk line, something straight, or something to reference straight for a ball to roll over. You've got to make sure you're putting on a flat area. All that matters, putting on a straight line. I put a mark on my ball. I line it up like this every single time. How I line up this ball is very, 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 very important, if not the most important thing in putting. So what we do, line it up, right down the line, get back, I just start rolling some putts. Putt is breaking a little bit right, so I didn't set it up perfectly on line, but if it is, you can either tap it down or just re-chalk it. This is very important that that ball, for me, if you've lined it up like this, is rolling end over end. You don't want to see a weird wobble. Let me show you what a weird wobble looks like. See how the line is on the left side and it's all crooked? That's called a hook. So whenever the line is rolling over the left side of it, at least when I notice that, that's a hook putt for right-hander. So you see the line's on the right side of the ball? For a draw, the line's gonna be on the left-hand side. For a cut, the ball's gonna be on the right-hand side, or the line's gonna be on the right-hand side. Brian is here helping us out today. Forgot to totally introduce him. That's my bad. Yep, just like I forgot you in Las Vegas. We were standing there going to dinner. I thought I had everybody. Got in the SUV. We went off to go to dinner. Halfway there, I go, "Where's Brian?" And he's texted me like 3 or 4 times saying, "I'm down here, I'm waiting, I'm waiting." And I looked at my phone and I go, "Oh my God, I can't believe I just forgot my caddy." We were dying laughing. We gotta go back, we're not leaving him. The next thing too is how a ball's launching. That's kind of in regard to hitting it online. You gotta launch the ball correctly so it starts online. If you're not launching it correctly, it'll go into the ground, it can pop and go anywhere, so you're not starting on your line consistently. And it's not gonna be easy to consistently repeat it. So what I do is I get a phone out, and we can see it in super slow motion, so we'll show you that now, what it looks like.
This is something that we check on every week, and depending on green speeds a little bit and length, we might launch it a little bit different depending on the greens. What would you say like the range of ideal launch would be?
1.5 degrees or below is fine. You definitely don't want to go 0. You just start catching little lips because the ball sits on grass and the grass depresses. So instead of it being on top, it starts to settle over time. It does compress and sit down into the ground. And so when you hit it out, it could hit the lip and make it fumble over kind of in an inconsistent way. So that's why I set my ball down in the latest possible amount so I don't have as much deflection in the grass. So I'm keeping the launch consistent every single time. All right, next up guys, we're gonna be teaching you a little bit about green reading. This is a super essential part to getting the ball in the hole, obviously. One of the most important things you guys can do from a green reading perspective is know where the straight putts are. In classical times, there were things called the 0 break line. This is back in like the 80s, they came up with it. The lower point and the higher point of the hole. Those define the straight putts. For example, you're on a pitched roof, right? You've got a hole in the center of it. The top point of that roof, the highest point in relation to that hole, is going to be the straight putt. The water's gonna flow right down through the hole. And then as it flows down through the hole, it's gonna keep flowing all the way down to the bottom point of the hole. So from the bottom of the hole all the way up to the top and vice versa is where the straight putt is if it's a perfectly pitched roof slope. That is called a planar slope, P-L-A-N-A-R, planar slope. We have multiple types of geometry, multiple types of slopes, but this is just a general basis for you guys to understand how to identify what slope is. You look at a roof, that's what slope is. You look at a green, same thing. So if we go over to a hole here, for example, you can see that there is a lot of fraying down on the bottom of the cup. That is a sign of where the grain is being pulled out. And grain does like to grow downhill. As much as we don't think grain may play a big factor, it plays a massive factor. That's gonna be in part 3 probably, talking about grain, wind, and how that affects putts. So for me, my perspective, the most important thing is to know upper section of the hole and the lower section of the hole. Those are going to define, again, where the lower and straight putts are. One easy way to find out where the lower and straight putts are, other than looking at it and seeing the fray marks on the bottom of the hole and it being perfectly clean on the top, is by walking in a circle around the hole. Yes, please don't get dizzy, but you can walk in a circle, a semicircle around the hole. So if you're not affecting anybody's lines, you always got to be cautious about other players and the way they're playing through to the hole. But for me, what I do is I walk around the hole. So watch this. It's going downhill, 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 downhill. And then I feel like I went uphill. I take one step back. That is where the straight putt is. You're gonna be putting uphill. Walking uphill, 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 starting to flatten out. And then I go past it. Oh, that's downhill. One step back. You're at that upper straight putt. Downhill, downhill, downhill. All knowing that this right side is gonna go left, break left. Downhill, up, well, I felt the change. You go just a half step back to step back. Now you've got your lower straight putt defined.
Doing this whole setup and understanding how the clock system works is actually, you can turn this into a great drill, right? So you could put 8 tees out here, so you have a 12 o'clock, a 1:30, a 3 o'clock, a 4:30, a 6 o'clock, 7:30, 9 o'clock, 10:30, and just start to get an understanding of how much something breaks. You're gonna see if there's a little bit of break or if there's a lot of break. You're gonna start to see that at 5 feet, you get a lot more break on certain putts.
Right.
And just to train your brain to understand that a little bit. And then you can move it out to 6, 7, 8, 9 feet, something like that, and just a good drill to work on. Keep expanding, keep trying to understand, and get comfortable with knowing how much putts are gonna break. Yep. Now that we know we have 2 inflection points where we can see when we cross on that upper side of things, that is going to be relatively a straight putt down the hill. Another important thing, guys, is to recognize that when you have the lower straight putt and the upper straight putt defined, you can put markers to that. What I mean by that is the upper putt is a 12 o'clock putt, the lower putt is a 6 o'clock putt. You just use the clock. You have 3 o'clock over on the right-hand side. 3 o'clock usually breaks right to left, and the 9 o'clock usually breaks left to right. And everything that is 6:01 to 11:59, anything on the left half when you're looking uphill to the hole, is always going to break left to right on some level. And then anything on the right half is always going to break right to left. This is on a planar surface, something that is sloped back to front, slopes down. So as we define this clock system, we can see here, 12, 6, 9, 3, we can start putting at different angles. We can go over to the 5 o'clock area. This is going to go right to left. We can go to the 4 o'clock area. This is going to be more right to left. Once you get to the 3 o'clock position, now you're perfectly level with this hole. Now I won't get into the specifics of why it's pretty close to being a perfectly level putt, because technically when you aim right of the hole, because it's breaking right to left, you're actually putting up the hill. That's a little tidbit, a little secret that people don't know. So technically where the perfectly level putt is actually just above, or yeah, I guess you could say above the 3 o'clock position. But essentially you keep going around, now you're starting to putt downhill, still breaking right to left, still breaking right to left, more downhill though. And you cross that inflection point where it's straight, and it starts going back the other way. It starts going left to right, lot downhill, left to right, less downhill, left to right, pretty close to being flat, so it's a neutral putt. You don't have to hit it harder or softer. Let me give you a good description of a putt that's going to go left to right, and it's uphill. 7 o'clock's here, 8 o'clock's here, 9 o'clock there, but this will go left to right. We'll still go left to right, but now we're going downhill. That 7:30 position, we're putting uphill. This is now putting downhill. This should go a little left to right, and it should be downhill. Just a little left to right, downhill. We're in the 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock position in between this area. And this is going to go right to left and a little downhill. This is going to be the 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock position. It's going to go uphill. It's an uphill putt, and going to move to the left.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Those are the most important things when trying to find the straight putts. Inflection points are pretty much where straight putts are going to be around the hole on a planar surface. All right, so guys, we have the clock system defined. We know which way putts break. We can get into crowns a little bit later, but I think for the most part, you guys will have a great understanding of what's going on now. And this can be extended out for 100 feet if the surface is consistent. Once it starts changing, that's where I can get into another descriptive video of what those types of putts do. If you guys use the method of walking in a circle around the hole, y'all will have a better understanding and experience of putting on the greens. You'll be one step closer to putting like me. All right guys, so LA Golf was nice enough to be giving us the opportunity to give away an LA Golf putter. One of ones that y'all could have in your own bag. We're gonna be doing a giveaway. If you like, subscribe, comment, one of the best comments. Gotta also subscribe to Regicy as well. You do those 4 things and you will be on your way to potentially owning an LA Golf putter.